Near 10 degrees tomorrow, negative 10 degrees, excuse me, tomorrow. Right now we're sitting at -4 in Lawrenceburg, Tennessee, the same in Haleyville and in Huntsville. If you're headed out for any reason, the roads, well, that's only one of your concerns. The temperatures is the other. Make sure you bundle up. Two things to talk about here. One, by noon, we're at 18 degrees, but feeling only like 6 degrees. By 4 p.m., we've reached our high temperature of the day of 22 degrees, feeling only like 11. What's important to note, we're nowhere near the freezing line and we're not getting above it. So that's not a good thing for our roads. The best thing for our roads is the more sunshine we're going to see coming later this afternoon. That will really help us out, and that's encouraging to already see in some of our areas on the Skycam networks right now. Those 31 alert days in effect Tuesday and Wednesday ahead of some isolated rain coming Thursday night. This will bring strong showers and storms, but they are not severe. I'm monitoring this for a wintry mix potential. At the moment, it doesn't pose a huge threat, but it's something I'm keeping my eyes glued on. So check back in with me tomorrow morning for the latest on that forecast. This weekend, we're sunny but bitter cold with Sunday's wake-up temperature just 8 degrees.
Wow.
Oh my goodness. It's that wind chill that gets me every single time.
And today it's a big one. Subtract anywhere from 7 to 12, 15 degrees from your measured temperature on your app, and that's what you're really feeling outside.
There is no question. This, if you get on those roads or if you get outside, it is potentially dangerous. And if you can stay home, absolutely, please do.
It is, and we know some folks do have to go to work, but giving yourself more time in the morning is certainly better. If you can wait until 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, shortly thereafter, conditions will just keep improving as we head through the day today.
A lot going on across North Alabama this morning for sure, but
Thank
we're going to
you.
unpack a little bit here and take us a quick break.
Yes, we will. We'll be back after this.
Welcome back, everybody. Time right now, 7:22, and we have said it all morning. It is a cold and icy morning you are waking up to out there, and we do have a team of reporters posted across North Alabama. They are monitoring road conditions.
Yes,
they are monitoring weather conditions, and we want to continue that team coverage right now.
And that's why we are breaking into your programming right now. I know you're used to seeing GMA. We wanted to let you know because this is so important. We want to keep you safe while you're out there. So we're going to go ahead and check in with WAAY 31's Charisma Thrash, who is riding around Huntsville this morning. Charisma, what do you see right now?
Yep.
Alrighty, Dimitri and Chris, we're on Maysville Road, which is in Huntsville. And let me just show you right now the scene of what we can see here in this WAAY 31 storm tracker. Absolutely nothing. When it comes to pavement, you can see absolutely nothing. We have been reiterating this all morning that actually you cannot see the division of the lanes within the road. So again, drivable conditions, but you have to go very slow, be very careful, and be very mindful that visibility is very low on the pavement. And so again, that could be a mess for all commuters. So think about it like this. You could be safe on the roads, you could be weather aware, but it could also be somebody else who's not safe, not weather aware, and that could cause a collision. So we want you to be careful out there. And that is the main thing that we are wanting to preach here in the WAAY 31 Storm Tracker, is that not only we want you to be careful out here because we're showing you the roads firsthand, but we also just want you to be mindful of all these conditions and developments and changes in our local forecast. Live from Huntsville in the WAAY 31 Storm Tracker, I'm Charisma Thrash.
And
Good points
Carissa.
right there.
Yeah, I see, just watching that storm tracker vehicle on that particular road
Yes.
they're on, it's almost unnerving because you can't see the road. And
No, you cannot.
I can only wonder how thick that coating of snow and ice is on that road.
Exactly.
Well, it's not just Huntsville, it's not just Madison County, it's not just the Shoals. Sand Mountain also dealing with these icy conditions across the roads, and that is why emergency management leaders in DeKalb, in Jackson, in Marshall counties, they are
counties
all
too.
saying the same thing we've been saying all morning.
Yep.
Stay off the roads. It's just too dangerous to be on them right now. Bridges and all those county roads, and you know some of those out there get a little
Yes.
rural. They are impassable, they say.
I mean, we keep getting emails that are coming into the newsroom and they're telling us to stay off of those bridges too. So every county in North Alabama, from the Shoals all the way to Sand Mountain, have either closed or they just said that those roads are just too dangerous for people to go on. And you can go and check for yourself by going to our news app or our website at waytv.com. We do have a full list of those road closures there.
And of course, again, stay off those roads. If you get on those roads, clearly, I think that what they're saying nicely, and we're saying more directly, is you literally are taking your life in your hands, getting on those roads.
Really?
Well, those slick roads already causing some problems for drivers who have dared to get on them already. Check out this crash yesterday on Huntsville's Governor's Drive. Now, investigators say two cars slammed into each other, knocked one of them into a ditch, and well, Grace has been saying this for days, and it bears repeating from investigators now, too. You think those roads were in bad shape yesterday? All that stuff that might have melted overnight has refrozen, and now those roads are even slicker. They're in worse shape today.
Yeah, but it's really putting these tow truck drivers at work. I mean, they are out there in full force. Just take a look at this right here. They were trying to pull this vehicle out of the ditch. They had to rescue several people after their cars either slid off the road or just got stranded on that ice. Now, we do know that tow truck companies get paid to respond to situations like this, but even they are now telling those drivers to stay off of those roads.
And check out first responders here scrambling. This video is from yesterday. They are scrambling there along I-65 to help drivers who got stranded on that ice there. This is near the Highway 31 Lacon exit. Now, this morning, those investigators say travel in that same area. There's a good chance you could get stuck there again because it is downright dangerous and icy out there.
Chris, Demetria, the elephant in the room, how long are our roads going to stay like this? Well, unfortunately, a little bit longer than we'd probably like. That's just one of the reasons for our 31 alert day. It's those Arctic temperatures. In case you haven't heard, Arctic means well below freezing. So we're unlikely to see much, if any, melting on some of those further back roads, which keeps them slick. Again, issuing those 31 alert days in effect on Tuesday and on Wednesday. We're a far cry from the freezing mark right now. -1 in Coleman, -2 in Decatur, up to 11 in Athens. How you managed to get into the double digits, I'll never know, but maybe we should all move over to Limestone County to see if conditions are a little more comfortable there. This triggering wind chill alerts and advisories, including wind chill warnings, all throughout North Alabama and southern Tennessee. These in effect from right now all the way through the day today and all the way through tomorrow morning. I'll go ahead and tell you, Wednesday morning, colder than we were today, unfortunately. By 11 a.m. today, we'll be at 3 degrees for our feels like temperature. 1, 2, 3. That's it, but at least we'll be out of the negatives. Our high temperature today coming at 3 and 4 o'clock will be measuring 22 degrees, but only feeling like 11. Now, keeping those temperatures as cold as they are, that's going to be a big problem for our roads. Here's the good news, though. The system that brought us the ice and the snow is now pushed east into Atlanta and, in fact, diminishing. Right here in the Tennessee Valley at 7:27 this morning, 31 triple Doppler is completely dry, and we're starting to see some cloud clearing. That is the best possible news I could give you this morning. The more of that sunshine comes through, the better that is for our roads. The temperatures, they're not going to help us out today, so we're counting on the sun. And the good news is we're already starting to see some of the sunshine poke through in several of our counties. Those 31 alert days remain in effect Tuesday and Wednesday ahead of the slick conditions today, the bitter cold, and then feels like temperatures of -10 first thing tomorrow morning. I do do have us in a caution day on Thursday, this ahead of more rain and storms coming Thursday night. I'm going to walk you through the hour by hour on future radar of that next weather maker, telling you everything you need to know to plan ahead for our big 3 highlight topics for the rest of the day. All that and more coming up in just a couple minutes.
Thank you, Grace. Well, if you are flying out of Huntsville International Airport, make sure you go and double check that flight because there are already several delays and cancellations already this morning. Take a look at the scene. This is why, because they still have to go out there, shovel all of that snow. Those crews have to go out there and de-ice those planes and the runways.
And we are getting a first-hand look at some damage left in the wake of this storm. You're looking at a picture right now of a burst pipe at Decatur Middle School. School leaders say maintenance crews are busy trying to clean up that mess. We know a burst pipe can leave quite a mess and do a lot of damage. Of course, a good time to remind everybody, if you haven't already, get those faucets dripping. That feels like below zero out there, so keep that water moving so that your pipes don't freeze or burst. Also, open those cabinets so that warm air from the house can get under there. Another way of keeping those pipes warm. This one's a little personal for me. Yeah. Sorry, but I'm about to be very direct in how I say this. If you have pets, they should already be inside with you where it's warm. If they are not, get them inside now. Please do that. For your pets, do it for me, just do it. So those overnight temperatures, as I said, they are still falling. Feels like temperatures are going to go below zero if it's not there already. And, well, let's just call it what it is. It's downright cruel to leave cats and dogs out in that kind of weather. Veterinarians say even animals too big to come in the house struggle in this kind of weather. So check on them, they say. Make sure they have a warm place to ride out this cold. Make sure they have access to drinking water because anything you put out there in their dishes, that's going to freeze. You've got to empty it. You've got to refill it and let them get a drink. By the way, if your pet is shivering, if it has shallow breathing, dilated pupils, low blood pressure, pale skin, all of these signs of hypothermia, that means your pet needs some help right now, and I hope you'll get it for them. Several agencies want to make sure anybody who needs a warm place to ride out these frigid temperatures has one. They opened warming centers in Madison and Morgan and DeKalb and in Colbert counties. And you can see those center locations there on your screen. You can also visit our website, WAAYTV.com, to find that center that is closest to you.
And make sure you stay with us. We'll be right back. And welcome back. The time is now 7:31. Just want to remind you that we are the only local newscast who's on right now. We want to make sure that we're keeping you safe, and we are going to be here until 9 a.m. bringing you the information you need to know right now.
It's a privilege to look after our community like that.
It really is. Well, Huntsville firefighters are battling 2 separate structure fires. One is on 6th Street Northwest and the other is on Mountain Park Circle Southwest.
So we are working right now to learn if either of these fires, how they started, may be connected to this cold weather. We know a lot of folks this time of year, this kind of weather, they are firing up their heaters and even bigger fires in the fireplace, turning those heaters up even higher. So that is always a concern, and how we hope that's not the case, but certainly our thoughts are with these folks right now who are in the midst of dealing with these structure fires.
Exactly.
There are a lot of roads closed right now across North Alabama because of that ice out there.
And state troopers are sounding out the alarm. They are warning you that those roads are open, but there still could be some slick spots, some icy patches. So make sure you're keeping a close eye on this. So a few hours ago, state troopers closed Mountain Gap Road in South Huntsville, Bankhead Parkway, as well as Green Mountain Road. And we know that that list is going to continue to grow. We've had a couple of emails of people emailing us telling telling us, it's like, hey, tell those folks to avoid this particular area.
And you know, we talk about road closures and icy conditions. It's not limited to any one part of North Alabama. All of North Alabama dealing with this morning. But we want to tell you right now, Jackson, DeKalb, Marshall counties, their emergency management leaders are saying that they are now calling all county roads in all 3 of those counties and all bridges impassable.
Yeah. So the bottom line, every county in North Alabama, from the Shoals all the way to Sand Mountain, have either closed or deemed those roads as extremely dangerous. But you can go online and check for yourself. You can go to WAAYTV.com or go to our news app, where you can download that if you do not have it already. It is free for both Apple and iPhone devices. Grace.
Let's get a look at your best way traffic. What we're seeing is a whole lot of traffic on our map. Now, we're seeing several accidents, one sitting south and west in Marion County near I-22, the other at the border of Morgan and Coleman counties, and that we're seeing has been backing up 65 for about the last hour and a half. So everywhere from Garden City up to Falkville, even north of that towards Decatur, expect to have 65 with a major backup. If at all you can avoid that area, go ahead and do it. Looking very backed up as well on 43, on 72, and on 565. If you are in the Shoals, go ahead and take your time. Try to take any back roads that you can. The safe ones, of course, those that have seen sunlight. However, staying on main roads, well, it's likely going to give you a much longer morning commute. Now, we're not seeing very many cars on the road right now, but what we are seeing is these backups. What that's telling us, well, the cars that are there are struggling. This likely because of the snow and black ice combination. And I'll go ahead and tell you, a lot of the snow that we typically see in this area, it's easy to have tread in. It's powdery to drive on. Not so with this system. What we're seeing here is layers of snow packed on top of ice that's creating almost one thick sheet of ice, really allowing cars to continue to slide in this region. So make sure you're staying safe. If you are headed out the door, plan plenty of extra time. If you do impact black ice, take your feet off the gas, do not slam on the brakes, and gently steer yourself back to safety. Now here I'm kind of going to do an all call, and it's only if it's safe. I cannot stress that enough. Only if it is safe for you to do so. But our AlDOT cameras showing you what roadways look like in your region, well, they're down right now. We don't have very many of them as a result of the weather. So here's what I can show you. But if you are able to send us pictures of roads safely, send them to us at newsroom@waaytv.com. However, if you're driving on the highway, if there's plenty of cars with you, if you're at risk of sliding off the road, do not pick up your phone. I do not want to see a picture from you. If you're somewhere where you can safely send us a picture of the road, let us know. We can put those on air and help all of our friends and neighbors as we kind of join together in this system while we watch this get out of our way and have our lives head back to normal.
And of course, Grace is leading our team coverage of this storm event, winter weather event affecting all of North Alabama. We also, though, have anchors and reporters out across North Alabama this morning who are monitoring everything from road conditions to weather conditions and beyond.
And we were talking about those slick roads, so we want to check in with WAAY 31's Charisma Thrash, because she's been on that road all morning since about 4:30 this morning. 3 hours she's been checking those conditions to make sure that you and your family are safe. Charisma.
Demetria, Chris, hours and hours of tracking on Moores Mill Road, actually here in Huntsville is where we're at now. And the WAAY 31 Storm Tracker has seen some drama this morning on the roadways, and we're going to show you why. If you take a look right now at your screen, well, look at the pavement. It doesn't exist. I have been saying that all morning, and that's something that is to be concerned about, is the lack of visibility on the roads. And so again, these median strips that are typically that you can see on the roads, they don't exist. And it's also causing very slick conditions for commuters this morning. And Dave Brazelton, of course, my colleague who is driving behind the wheel of our 31 Storm Tracker, he has encountered lots of spots on the roadway where it is slick and where you can merge on and off of the road. So again, if you are having to travel this morning, we want you to be careful. travel in and around Huntsville because a lot of the roads are looking just as like what you see now. Not a lot of commuters on the road, which is a good thing, but there are some on the road. Some actually being a little stagnant in the road, can't even move at all, but some are going at low speeds. And so we want you all to make sure not only you're staying aware of those developments and changes in the local forecast, but all of the trending stories as well. We want you to stay up to date. Head over to WAAYTV.com for all of those developments and updates, especially stories as well. Live in Huntsville in the WAAY 31 Storm Tracker, I'm Charisma Thrash.
And Charisma, we thank you so much for that report. I want to get further our team coverage right now. Of course, heading over to the Shoals.
Yep. And that's where we find WAAY 31's Marie Waxel standing by. Marie, it looks like you moved to a different location.
Yeah.
Where are you standing at now?
Yeah, as promised, all morning long, we've been bouncing around the Shoals area to try and give you at home a better look at what we're dealing with, just that overall big picture. Right now, we are in Lauderdale County along Florence Boulevard. Behind me here, the overpass to Veterans Drive. Just over that, the Singing River Bridge. Georgia and I just drove across that just maybe about 10 minutes ago. It's a mess out there. It's just sloppy. It's slick. We had a driver actually try to pass us on the left. Not doing anything wrong, but definitely started sliding, and it made us nervous just for a second, and we watched that driver just gently slow down. Thankfully was able to correct and get control of their SUV and then continue on. So, you know, even though this snow is hard and it seems like it's packed, underneath that, again, we cannot stress enough that layer of ice that is underneath the snow. Plus, you can't really see the road markings behind me. You don't know really where the roads are, where the turn lanes are, if you're in the correct lane or not. And it's really just kind of a scary situation, especially if you have a younger driver, right? Your kids are at home from school and they want to get out. They don't want to be stuck in the house. This really is a dangerous situation. So if you can keep them off the roads and keep yourself off the road as long and as possible, please go ahead and do that. Good news though is we haven't encountered any stranded drivers in Colbert County or Lauderdale County this morning, so that means a lot of you at home are taking our advice that you don't have to get out, to go ahead and stay home. Only those who have essential jobs. We've got the hospital over here. They kept the roads pretty clear over here, so it's a good thing, you know, if you don't have to get out, go ahead and stay home. Want to remind you what it looked like less than 24 hours ago over in Muscle Shoals. This is some video we have out here along Avalon Avenue. Businesses over there in Muscle Shoals, in Tuscumbia, Sheffield, over in Florence, especially the small businesses, are left this morning trying to determine if they're even going to open. We saw gas stations that were closed this morning. Places that are typically open 24 hours just shut down just because of the dangerous conditions. One of the local pharmacies shut down as well. We caught up with the owner of the Village Discount Drug yesterday, and this is what he says he has to determine as a small business owner.
We talked to the police department, some of the other road departments, to see what's going on and see how clear the roads are before we make a decision, you know, whether we're going to close or not, because we try to be open if we possibly can.
Right, so he owns a pharmacy over there, and he has customers that he has to serve who have needs, medical needs. You want to make sure everybody is okay. They have the medication that they need in case of an emergency. You know, the list goes on, but they also have employees that they have to take care of. And it doesn't matter, small business, big business, we're all just kind of sitting and waiting, and that's the name of the game, sitting and waiting. If you have to go out, pack the emergency bag, pack food, pack water, and give yourself plenty of time to get to your destination. And it's not going to just jump in the car and go. You're going to have to wait 20, 30 minutes in some cases to go ahead and even start to defrost your car. I know we've got ice that's been built up, especially if you haven't left the house in several days. So just a lot of factors that make driving very, very dangerous if you are not careful. Again, behind me here, Florence Boulevard, you haven't seen very many cars pass me. This is a typically very busy stretch of road. Thankfully, people are staying home and off the road, as we are encouraging all of you to do. Of course, we will continue our search across the Shoals this morning and bring you the sights and sounds of what we're seeing out here on the ground. For now, reporting with coverage you can count on in Lauderdale County, Marie Waxel, WAAY 31 News.
All right, Marie, thank you so much.
Yeah, and I want to remind you that you can take WAAY TV on the go with you because you can always watch us online at WAAYTV.com. We're streaming the live cast now. We have a few people who are watching in. Hello to Tyler, who is watching. He said he thought we were getting more snow. Hello to Marlene, who is watching in Harvest, and Dawn in Boaz. So you have a lot of different ways that you can get the news, and we're bringing it straight to you.
And we are on air until 9 o'clock this
9
morning, an
a.m.
extended version of WAAY 31 News Mornings, just to make sure you and your family are protected, that you have the information you need to ride out this frigid, cold weather out there.
And we'll be right back.
This is WAAY 31 News, tracking winter weather.
Good Tuesday morning, everybody. As we track this winter weather, it is January 16th, and I'm Chris Tate. I'm so glad to have you with us.
And I'm Demetria Green. And remember that we are the only local newscast who's on your stations right now. We are going to be on air until 9 o'clock, bringing you the latest information that you need to know. So as you wake up, you're going to notice that it is a cold and icy morning today. We do have reporters who are all across North Alabama. They're making sure that you stay safe.
I want to start, though, right now in studio. That is where Storm Tracker meteorologist Grace Anello is standing by. She is tracking all of this weather and what it's meaning to North Alabama as they wake up this morning.
Exactly.
Chris, Dimitri, you know, that's the WAAY 31 promise, and we've all said it so many times, but we're not going anywhere until the system gets out of your way. Well, here we are, staying here to stay, get you the information that you and your family need to stay safe today. All right, we have those road conditions that we're going to get to more on in just a minute, but I'll go ahead and tell you they are icy and they are slick, but we're also coupling that with bitter cold temperatures that pose just as big of a threat, even if you're just staying home today. We do have wind chill alerts, warnings, and advisories in effect in North Alabama and southern Tennessee through 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. So all day today and into tomorrow. That coupled with the inches of snow and ice that are greatly impacting our roads still at this very moment, issuing 2 more 31 alert days in effect today and tomorrow. Now, this is not a surprise. We issued these alert days ago. However, I just want to be clear, it's not storms and it's not snow that has these still in the forecast. It's the road conditions and the temperatures. Take a look at 31 triple Doppler, getting to take a bit of a rest from yesterday. Well deserved, I would say. 7:45 this morning, and not one drop of rain, not one flurry of snow. We are dry for precipitation on all accounts, as we will stay today and tomorrow. 0 degrees right now in Muscle Shoals. Nothing says good morning like that, right? Feeling like -4 in Huntsville and -2 in Coleman. Conditions are bitter cold, and I cannot stress this enough. Frostbite becomes a major problem with temperatures this cold in just a few minutes' time. You can have frostbite on your nose, on your fingers, your ears, even on your toes. So if you are headed out and about at any point, make sure you are staying bundled up and make sure you're really limiting that time outside, even if it's just to play in the front yard. More sunshine coming later this afternoon. That's the best thing we can do for our roads, but those wind chills keeping us about 10 degrees colder than what we're measuring. I'll walk you through the specifics of that, what you can expect on the roads, and the timing of our next weather maker that, is already on its way. All that and more coming up.
All right, thank you so much, Grace. Well, those icy roads out there forcing school leaders this morning to close schools, many schools across North Alabama.
And some of them decided to go ahead and just close tomorrow as well. You can see on your screen right there, I see Decatur Heritage School, Drake State. That's just among the few of the others that are listed online at WAAYTV.com. They're trying to give it more time for that ice to melt and for those workers to get the snow off the roads. But we also have some school closures that's scrolling at the bottom of your screen too, and we are constantly updating this list.
That is such good news. I can't imagine the terror parents would have, that we would have sitting up here talking about it if those school buses were rolling out there this morning. So I'm glad those schools are taking that bold step to go ahead and close, even as far as tomorrow. Although there are a lot of roads closed, though, across North Alabama this morning, again, because of that ice. They are coated with it.
And state troopers are even warning that those roads that are open right now could have some slick spots, even those icy patches. So over in Madison County, state troopers closed Mountain Gap Road in South Huntsville, Bankhead Parkway, and Green Mountain Road. Those are closed because it is dangerous out there. I do want to note that we did tell you that we have team coverage. We have our crews across North Alabama. We were going to check in with WAAY 31's Marie Waxel and Georgia Clark, but they had to leave and move to a different location because the roads over there were pretty slippery. And we just had a report from them a couple of minutes ago.
Yes.
So make sure you keep that in mind if you decide to get out and get on the road.
And speaking of our team coverage, we do right now have, of course, Charisma Thrash out in our WAAY 31 Storm Tracker vehicle.
So let's go ahead and check in with her.
All righty, Demetria and Chris, we are now on Memorial Parkway South. And let me go ahead and flip the camera for you here just so you can see. And let me just mention this. Highway 72 was unrecognizable. Completely unrecognizable. We saw no cars traveling whatsoever. And then on top of that, I mean, completely no pavement. So you would think that you are, in, as Grace and Nello had mentioned, a winter wonderland of some sort. But look at the roads ahead. Again, you rarely see anybody driving whatsoever on the roads, which is a good thing. And the people who are traveling are going very slow. And just like my colleague Dave Brazelton is doing right now, taking his time going up the hill. And as you can see, look at that snow accumulated on the ground. And so again, it's going to be a very slow commute if you need to leave the house this morning. The main thing that we want to show you all here in Huntsville is the lack of visibility on the roads. That can be treacherous, especially if you're commuting rather. So we want you all to make sure if you're commuting, go ahead and put those beams on right there. And you just saw that truck passing by having their light beams on. That can signal to other cars that you are driving or that you are in front or behind them. And then also too, just make sure that you're driving at a slow pace. Again, the roads you can drive on, but it is just very, very, very slick out here. And so we just want you to be cautious and make sure that you know that the roads are slick, and make sure you stay not only aware on those developments and changes in the local forecast, but stay aware of those weather stories that we have as well on WAAYTV.com to make sure that you're up to date on the latest developments in all of these weather patterns that we're having across North Alabama. Live in Huntsville in the WAAY 31 Storm Tracker, I'm Charisma Thrash.
You can see there, Demetria, in that as we were watching them travel there, I believe I saw the dome maybe there on the mall.
Yeah, the Parkway Place Mall.
Yeah, so that would be their reference point. And clearly there had been some traffic, it looked like, going further south on the Parkway, but I didn't see any tracks going north. So
I did notice that too. That is interesting. So she brought up some really good points there. And that was actually headed towards your neck of the woods.
It is, yeah, that's not where I live, so that end of town. Well, it's not just Huntsville, it's not just Madison County, it's not just the Shoals. There are road closures and icy conditions all across North Alabama. I don't think there's a single county in North Alabama that is not affected by this in some big way. So right now, let's talk about Sand Mountain, Jackson, DeKalb, and Marshall counties right now. Emergency management leaders in all three are sounding that warning to stay off those roads. They are now deeming all county roads and all bridges in all three counties, again, DeKalb, Marshall, and of course, help me out, Jackson counties. All of those have impassable situations now.
And they're saying that every county in North Alabama, from the Shoals all the way to Sand Mountain, have either closed or deemed those roads as extremely dangerous due to those slick patches and those pockets of ice that you're seeing. So you can go ahead online and check for yourself at WAAYTV.com, or just go ahead and download our news app. It's free for both Apple and Android. I keep saying Apple and iPhone.
Apple and
Android devices. You can go ahead and do that so that you can have news to go right in the palm of your hand.
Well, you know what? Those slick roads are already causing some problems for folks who have dared to venture out on them. So this is some video of a crash that happened yesterday. This happened on Huntsville's Governor's Drive. Investigators say two vehicles slammed into each other. One of them got knocked in the ditch. And look at all that debris there in the road from this crash. Well, this morning, investigators are saying what Grace Anello's been saying for days. all that stuff that might have melted yesterday, guess what? It refroze overnight
Yes,
when
it
these
did.
temperatures, the feels like, again, below zero. So it is even more dangerous on those roads out there this morning than it was yesterday. What melted is now a solid sheet of ice.
Yes, it is. And it's making for really hazardous conditions for even those tow truck drivers. Because as you see here, they're pretty busy this week. They're pulling those cars out of the ditches. This crew actually rescued several people yesterday when their cars just slid off the road or they just got stranded on that ice. Now, while those tow truck companies, they do get paid to respond to situations like this, they are still encouraging drivers just to stay off the road.
And I'm going to, right here for a moment, break with our protocol and break with the plan, because I want to say, you've got those firefighters.
Yes.
We know they're responding in Huntsville to 2 structure fires as we speak.
They're looking at them right now.
Police officers. You saw that tow truck driver out there in that cold. I saw in one piece of video, his foot was submerged in a mud puddle. So we owe a big thank you, a big debt of gratitude to the EMTs, all of them out there, the paramedics. They are providing that essential service. And our hats off to you. Thank you for what you were doing. And speaking of those first responders, I want to show you some video right now of some first responders actually trying to rescue some stranded drivers there caught in that ice. This is on I-65 near Highway 31 and the Lakon exit. That happened yesterday, as you can see. Now we're taking a new, fresh, live look this morning of that area. Much different story than what we saw there in that video a moment ago, but still, that road looks very slick. And first responders who were out there yesterday say, if you travel in that area this morning, there's still a good chance you could get stranded on that ice.
But it does warm my heart to see that not a lot of folks are out there on the road right now.
Yes.
We just saw one truck. It looks like a couple more trucks that are coming through, but that's it.
And interstates get a high priority when we have this kind of
Correct.
weather to be treated and to be cared for, to get that ice moved off the roads. But clearly that happened so quickly that yesterday it got ahead of what those workers were trying to do. And clearly this morning it's still slick out there.
Exactly. So let's go ahead and take a look at the roads with Chris and Ella.
Yeah.
Chris, Demetria, you actually made a great point that I do want to bring up. We're not seeing too many cars on the roads, but we are seeing plenty of backups. What that tells me is that the cars that are there are really struggling. Now, let me explain to you what we saw. We saw a little bit of freezing rain yesterday that created instantaneous ice on roads, including black ice, which is nearly invisible to drivers until you're on top of it. Then we saw several inches of snow. Now, this was not your powdery, fresh snow that you make a snowball with. This was more icy and sticky snow that stuck to that ice. So instead of having snow that your tires can tread through, that it can grab that powder and kind of propel you to go, instead what we're having is almost one solid sheet of ice that people are trying to drive on. And that's very, very dangerous, and that's why we're seeing these backups. 65s, especially south of Decatur, looks like an absolute parking lot right now. The same can be said over in the Shoals, looking at traffic on 72 as well as 43. In the Huntsville Metro, Athens and Decatur seeing major backups on 565, 65, and 431. The same said over on 72 and 431 in Sand Mountain. So if you are headed out on the roads, add plenty of extra time to your morning commute, knowing it will take you longer, and make sure you drive as safe as possible as you head to your destination today.
All right, Grace, thank you. We have said throughout the morning that a lot of folks will have to head back to work today. The roads indicate that might not be the case, and that is really good news. Even so, though, the folks who do have to go to work, even if it's a handful of them, and according to what Grace just said, dealing with even a little bit of traffic on the road causing tie-ups, we're going to be seeing that all day.
Yes, we will. That snow and ice is going to affect a lot of those commutes. So we want to continue our winter team coverage. We're going to go ahead and check in with Georgia now. Now, Georgia, we were so concerned about you because at the top of the hour, we were saying that we're going to come to you all, but I understand you had to move locations due to kind of the dangerous conditions out there.
Yeah, the roads are really slick right now, and Demetria and Chris, we have seen a bit more cars on the road. Just to give you an idea of where I'm at, so this is the Singing River Bridge right behind me. We're going towards Colbert County. Colbert County is across the bridge over there. We're currently in Lauderdale County. The hospital is right there behind me, and Veterans Drive is as well. So we did move because we wanted to get a little bit closer to the bridge, but where we were previously was a bit slick. And like I said earlier, we have seen a pretty decent amount of cars pass through and over the bridge. And while we were going over the bridge earlier, actually, somebody, their back end started to swing towards us, and they were sliding around and skidding around. So, with all that to say, if you don't have to be out on these roads today, stay at home, because with these, I mean, this snow is hard as a rock. I'm in a very nice mixture of salt and snow right now from the roads and the plows. And speaking of plows, we actually just saw for the first time this morning, since we've been out since about 4 o'clock, the first snowplow and crews coming out to clear the bridge. So that was the first time we had seen it about 5 minutes ago. So as I said earlier this morning, these crews are extremely stretched thin. So for this to be the first time all morning for us to have seen a snowplow, that just can show you, can attest to how stretched these crews are. So like I said, just stay off the roads if you can. Make them clear for the crews that are coming out here to clear the roads, so we can get all back to normal here recently. Snow day has been fun, but now it's getting to the point where we have to be extremely careful. So like I said, just stay off the roads, stay home if you can, and with coverage you can count on in Lauderdale County. Georgia Clark, WAAY 31 News.
Don't go anywhere. I got a question for you. So you talked about seeing that snowplow go by. Were you able to see how effective that snowplow was on the kind of snow and ice that we have out there? Was it able to remove it from the road, or is there still a surface of ice below it?
It's kind of midway, you know. Some back in Colbert County while we were driving around, there were some places where I could see the lines on the road again. But here there's still a pretty, I would say about a half an inch to an inch on the road still worth of snow and salt, and you know what they've been using to treat the roads. So it's going to take probably a few go-throughs for these snowplows and crews to get these roads cleaned up.
But it's good to see that they are actually starting to get out there and cover the area too, because we've been out there for what, almost since 4:30 this morning. You've been reporting in that area, so it's nice to see that they are getting that coverage in. And I do have to say that I'm from Chicago,
right?
So people are like, anytime it snows down here, they're like, oh, you can deal with it, it'll be okay. One thing I don't mess around with is ice, because ice, you just have no control over your vehicle. You don't know where it's going to go, so please make sure you stay safe while you're out there.
Well, now that Mother Nature is finished, shooting us down with all this snow, we need her to bring us a little sunshine to help get rid of it. We're not going to get rid of it without her help.
Oh, I can't wait for it. I'm thinking about summer already.
Ooh, she's two-faced.
Well, make sure you stay with us. We'll be right back. And welcome back. The time is now 8:02 and Huntsville firefighters. They are right now battling two separate structure fires.
The one's on 6th Street Northwest, the other on Mountain Park Circle Southwest. We are working right now to learn if the weather might have played a part in how these fires started.
And if you're flying out of Huntsville International Airport, make sure you go ahead and double check that flight because there are already several delays and cancellations that are happening this morning. Airport leaders say it will remain open as those crews, they try to remove this snow that you see right there. They also have to go and de-ice those planes and the runways. And we are getting a first-hand look at some of the damage that was left in this winter storm's wake. We have a photo of a burst pipe. This is over at Decatur Middle School. City school leaders say maintenance crews are currently cleaning up that area, but this does serve as a reminder to let the water drip from your faucets. Also remember to open those cabinets to let that warm air flow in.
And let's talk about something that you and I and Grace we're all very passionate about animals and proper care and good care for animals. So if you have pets, they should already be inside. That is without question. And if you don't have them inside where it's warm, you should get them inside. Just talking directly to you right now. So those overnight temperatures, they are falling. They reached the below zero level, feels like at least. It is downright cruel. I'm going to call it again, just what it is. It's downright cruel to leave your cats and your dogs out in this kind of weather. Veterinarians say even animals too big to bring in the house struggle in this kind of weather. And they say you should check on them. You should make sure they have a warm place to ride out this cold and make sure they have access to drinking water because anything you put in their dishes is going to freeze.
And by the way, if your pet is shivering, has shallow breathing, dilated pupils, low blood pressure, or pale skin, these are all signs of hypothermia, and that pet needs to get help right away. So please, please, please keep that in mind.
You can't call them your best friend if you don't take care of them, bring them in the house when it's cold.
Yep. Well, several agencies do want to make sure that anybody who needs a warm place to ride out these frigid temperatures has one. So they did open warming centers in Madison, Morgan, DeKalb, and Carver counties. You can see those center locations that are on your screen. Also, go to our website. We put all of the full information that you need to know there to find the one that's closest to you.
We do want to see your pictures and your videos of your children and your grandchildren out in the snow, and you can send them to us really easily. Just email them to newsroom@waaytv.com. That is newsroom@waaytv.com. And of course, we also just may use them here on air. We may post them on our website, but please share them. It really makes it easier to help tell the story of this weather event when you give us your pictures.
And I need to say, Grace has been doing a really good job. Like every time somebody sends something in, she's been posting it online. I'm like, it's so cute. I think the cutest one that I've seen so far was an alpaca.
That was cute.
That was
Eating ice, I think.
adorable.
Yeah.
That was
Rascal,
so
he was from
Rascal.
Athens, Alabama. Rascal the alpaca.
Look at us. We love our critters.
I know, and you know, our viewers are so helpful, and we always say this, that when you send us videos, when you send us pictures, you're our eyes in the field.
Yeah.
But this is the perfect example
It
of that.
is.
We've been stranded up here since Sunday. I have not left this corner of the world since Sunday.
Please stop
so I could
reminding
see
us.
nothing in North Alabama and Southern Tennessee. But we're getting photos from Fayetteville, from Lawrenceburg, from Scottsboro.
Yes.
We're getting photos from Waterloo, from Lexington, from Decatur. So that is how I'm literally able to be on air right now and tell you what to expect because of you and your neighbors and the photos and the videos you're sending. So, you know, what a great thing to do for North Alabama to come
Yes.
together. But also thank you because what you're doing is helping us do our job.
Our
Thank you,
crews,
viewers. Oh.
our crews with these roads that we've been showing people all
Yeah.
morning, they can't possibly get to a lot of this stuff.
Right.
No,
So
they can't.
please, if you have those pictures, if you're able safely,
Yeah,
I want to
that's
stress
the key
that.
right there.
We would love, even if it's news happening in your area,
Yeah.
we would love your help to tell these stories, but we will not in any way expect you to take a risk. Be safe about sending those pictures and those videos.
I also, just one disclaimer and then I'll stop preaching at you and get to the weather. But,
Hallelujah.
we're only showing you a few sky cameras that do have the roads on them, and
Yes.
that's because that's not our system, that's a state system. So we're working to get those from them. Many of them are down because of this weather. So we would show you more roads if we could. I would love to. I'm getting your emails that's asking to see them, but that's just not possible right now because of the weather and those cameras being down. So we're not purposely leaving you out. We're just doing the best with what we got. At least for right now, though, let's take a look at 4 cameras that we do have. And my, are they looking lovely. Huntsville, Muscle Muscle Shoals, Gunnersville, and Decatur hardly looking better than they are right now on the WAAY 31 Skycam network. Oh, let's go back. Powered by Thompson Roofing and Construction. But there's a couple things I want to analyze for you in these pictures. One, conditions are icy. Specifically, 565, though, is looking better than it was a few hours ago, likely because of the pre-treatments of those roads and the cars that are already there. However, take a look at Decatur and Muscle Shoals, little to no improvement whatsoever. So this is a great representation. Some of our more highly trafficked roads are starting to see some improvements. Those that are not as much, still blanketed in snow and ice and very dangerous to travel on. Our temperatures sitting in the teens, but feeling much closer to zero. I know, I hate to be the one to have to tell you. Well, those roadways and those temperatures, that's what's issued our next 2 31 alert days, in effect today and tomorrow. We are right smack dab in the middle of this system, but the good news is there's the light at the end of the tunnel. Take a look at 31 triple Doppler at 8:08 this morning. Not one drop of rain and no snow. Now, one or two of us seeing some very, very isolated flurries across the area, but those will get out of our way before long, and no more accumulation is expected at any point today or tomorrow. But how much did we see? Well, if you're in Fayetteville, Tennessee, or surrounding counties right north of the Alabama border, you saw up to 6 inches of snow. In Huntsville, in Athens, in Decatur, Muscle Shoals, and Florence, you saw up to 5 inches of snow, and the rest of us just keep going down from there. But the important thing to note, all of that snow stuck on the roads. We did not see hardly any melting because our temperatures have not gotten anywhere near the freezing mark. So that's what's affecting our travel today. Because of the wind chills, that's why it will continue to affect our travel. We do have wind chill warnings and advisories in effect in the valley through tomorrow afternoon at 9 a.m. Now, by the time we get to 10 o'clock this morning, we're going to do a little compare and contrast here. We'll be measuring 15 degrees. Our high temperature will be measuring 22. Note, nowhere near the freezing mark, so we're not expecting melt from that. But take a look at what we'll be feeling like once we factor in the wind chill. At 10 a.m., just 1 degree. At 3 and 4 p.m. for our high temperature, just 11 degrees. So bitter cold all day today, at risk of frostbite for noses, for fingers, for toes, for ears. That's something that you all need to be mindful of today. Just a few minutes out in conditions like this can lead to serious frostbite. And an aside, if that were to happen, don't rush inside and throw your hands in warm water. That's not the best way to fix that. It almost actually has a negative effect. Instead, what you can do is wrap your hands in dry towels. If you can tuck them into your arms, something to bring them back to normal temperature. Don't just blast your hands or your toes, whatever it might be, with extra hot water or hot conditions. That will not help. Try to get yourself back to normal, if that makes any sense. Tomorrow morning, we're even colder than we were today, just 3 degrees, feeling like -10. And then when we get later to this week, we start to rebound from the temperatures just a little bit. But that one comes with a price too. Starting at about 3 o'clock, I'm tracking some rain and storms with the potential of another wintry mix entering into the Tennessee Valley on 3 o'clock on Thursday. Now, I think most of what we'll see is going to be rain and some thunderstorms. I don't think we'll see as much of a wintry mix anywhere near as what we saw today. However, that's a system I'm still monitoring. So check back in with me tomorrow morning for another future radar outlook that's a little more updated as we get closer to time. The rain and storms do stay with us as we head through the rest of the evening on Thursday, but then they get out of the way by first thing on Friday morning. When we make it to the weekend, we have sunshine back in the forecast, but my, are we cold. Just 23 degrees for your high temperature on Saturday and 8 degrees when you wake up on Sunday.
Now, your best way traffic, sponsored by Russ Russell Commercial Real Estate.
Okay, a little bit of good news. The traffic accident that we were mapping all morning long sitting on 65 at the border of Cullman and Morgan counties does appear to be cleared up. However, that area is still heavily trafficked and is seeing plenty of slowdown. So anywhere from Garden City up to Falkville, even Decatur, make sure you are taking your time as you head out on the roads because we have plenty of traffic in the area. Looking at several slowdowns on 43, on 72, and on 565 over in the Shoals. Like we talked about, we're not seeing a ton of cars on the road, but the ones that are there are struggling, and that's what's causing these backups. So if it's not essential for you to be on the road today, just stay home. That's the safer bet. 31, 65, and 565 all showing backups as well between Huntsville, Athens, and Decatur. 431, the same story, and even starting to see some traffic on 72 near Scottsboro and 231 in Lacey Spring. It's not that our roads are completely impassable, it's just that they're very icy, and if you are on them, you need to exercise extreme caution. We've got so much more for you. Don't you go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Welcome back, everybody. 8:13 right now, and good Tuesday morning to you as we continue to track this winter weather. By the way, it's January 16th. I'm Chris Tatum.
And I am Demetria Green. I do want to remind you that we are the only
Been on the air a while this morning.
we are the only local newscast who's been on air from 7 a.m. to 9 o'clock. We want to make sure that you are staying safe. And we do want to top our coverage that you can count on this morning. As you know, that it is a 31 alert day, so you are waking up to a very cold, icy day. We do have a team of reporters posted all across North Alabama who's working to keep you and your family safe.
So WAAY 31 anchors Marie Waxel and Georgia Clark, they are in Muscle Shoals. They're monitoring the weather conditions and road conditions there for us. WAAY 31's Charisma Thrash is out and about in Madison County this morning, and our WAAY 31 storm tracker, she's giving us an up-close look at the road conditions here. We want to start, though, right now with storm tracker meteorologist Grace Anello.
Yeah, because she is tracking just when this ice and mess will end for us.
You know, Chris, Demetria, there's very few people I would hand over the keys to the storm tracker to, but Charisma is definitely one of them. And it's been so helpful to have those reports both from her and Marie and Georgia over in the Shoals. Now, we do have very icy conditions. We also have some of the coldest temperatures we've seen in 34 years. That put us back in 1989. That was the last time we were this cold, and that's what we're looking at. Those reasons, well, that's plenty to issue 2 more 31 alert days in effect today and tomorrow. Feeling like -5 degrees in Lawrenceburg, Tennessee right now. The same in Haleyville, -2 in Huntsville, and -3 over in Decatur. We are bitter cold. Even if you're staying home today with the little ones, if you're headed out to play in the snow that really isn't perfect for snowballs, make sure you bundle up. You can get frostbite in just several minutes' time. As we head through the rest of the afternoon, there's a couple things I want to talk to you about. One, we'll see more sunshine as we come later into the afternoon and closer to 3 o'clock and meeting our high temperature. That's the best news of the day. Our temperatures will stay well below the freezing point, so we cannot rely on them to melt anything that's stuck on our roads. That sunshine is really going to help us out, and I'm encouraged because we've already seen some sun peeking through on some of our sky cameras. As far as those temperatures do go, our high temperature is 22 degrees today. Feeling only like 11. So thank goodness we made it into the double digits, but just barely. However, if you're feeling a little sad for yourself, well, you probably shouldn't anymore. Take a look at Tulsa, Oklahoma, 0 right now at 8 o'clock, 2 degrees in St. Louis, Missouri, and just 9 in Memphis, Tennessee. So are we doing as well as Jacksonville? No, not quite, but we're not as bad as Tulsa, and that certainly is a good thing. Now, I'll be back in just a couple minutes because I am tracking several things in all seriousness, including your road conditions, including these Arctic temperatures, and our next weather maker that's already on its way. I'm going to get you everything you need to know for those systems ahead and help you and your family plan ahead for the week coming in just a couple minutes.
All right, Grace, thank you so much. Well, those icy roads out there, they are forcing school leaders to make some tough choices to cancel school today for a lot of North Alabama students.
Yeah, some of them also decided to close tomorrow to give those workers more time to clear their roads and more time for that ice to melt. Now, we do have a full list of school closures there on our website at WAAYTV.com. Like you see right here, you see Calhoun Community College closed as well as Fayetteville, Tennessee schools closed too. And we are constantly updating that list. And plus, if you have a child who goes to one of the schools, you may get an alert. I know for my kids, I got like 2 alerts, and they're like, "We're closing. Pick them, get them in on Thursday."
Well, all that snow and ice out there is, of course, affecting the roads. We've talked about that all morning. It is dangerous to be on them. But, of course, we have a team, reporters, anchors. We have them all across North Alabama this morning monitoring those things for us.
So we do want to go ahead and check back in with Charisma Thrash, who is out there right now. Charisma,
Actually,
it looks
Georgia.
like this is Georgia. So, Georgia, where are you right now?
So, hi Demetria, hi Chris. We just passed over O'Neill Bridge, and I will say we just passed over going towards Florence, and I will say it was mostly covered in ice. There were a few patches that were not, but we were a little slippery going over O'Neill. And right now we're looking at McFarland Park, which we're driving into now, and we've got some crews right here in front of us, some equipment that has been left here. So we are in McFarland Park, and they are just working right now. This is some equipment that has been left here, but we did see some crews exiting McFarland Park a few minutes ago. So they have just been working kind of around the clock to get all of this snow moved out and pushed out of the way. I have a feeling in McFarland Park it's going to be quite some time throughout this week before all of this snow is gone. But I mean, because it is just a complete winter wonderland over here. It's beautiful. But so that is, we are currently just driving around Lauderdale County and Florence, kind of getting a lay of the land. This is one of the first times that we've really been over here and gotten to explore a little bit because of the ice situation. So we're just going to stay here, keep y'all updated on what these conditions look like. Keep a lookout for some road crews, and we'll be back here in a little while with some more updates for you. I'll send it back over to y'all in the studio.
Georgia, we can't even see these roads.
No, you can't.
We absolutely cannot tell what is there beneath that coating of white.
Oh,
so,
my goodness.
honestly, if I was there, I'm not sure I would know where the road was.
Exactly. Please stay safe.
Yes.
Oh.
So there are a lot of roads closed across North Alabama this morning. We mean all of North Alabama, and again, because of this ice.
And those state troopers are warning that even though those roads are open right now, you may have some slick spots and icy patches, or you just may not be able to see it like you saw in Georgia's live shot. So we are going to start in Madison County, where just a couple of hours ago, state troopers did close Mountain Gap Road in South Huntsville, Bankhead Parkway, as well as Green Mountain Road. And we know that more roads could get added to that list.
And right now, we want to continue our team coverage once again. As we've said, we've got reporters and anchors out all across North Alabama.
We do.
This one's in Huntsville.
Yeah, so we're going to check in with WAAY 31's Charisma Thrash.
That's right, Demetria. So now we're on Airport Road, which is in Huntsville, and not a lot has changed when it comes to road conditions. And we're going to go ahead and flip the camera and show you exactly what we're seeing. Yet another ice blanket on the roads. This has been nonstop all morning, and we have been tracking this development here across North Alabama, here in Huntsville throughout the early parts of the morning. So again, not a lot of visibility in all of the parts that the WAAY 31 storm tracker has encountered this morning. And that is a problem for commuters. Luckily, there is not a lot of commuters on the road this morning, and that is a good thing. And so again, with that lack of visibility, that is the biggest factor, especially for all commuters this morning. So the best thing you can do is stay home this morning if you don't have to get out on the roads. Now, if you do, just make sure that you travel at a slow speed. That is very pertinent. So if it's not for you, make sure you pass that information to someone that you know, especially that's living in this area. Again, we want you to take a very close look at the road that does not exist. Again, that is all from that wintry mix that we experienced in the past few hours, has just stuck to the roads and caked on. So again, it's causing slippery conditions for all commuters. We want you all to make sure that you're staying aware and prepared, and you can do so by going to WAAYTV.com and making sure that you're staying up to date with those developments and changes in the local forecast. Live in Huntsville in the WAAY 31 Storm Tracker, I'm Charisma Thrash.
All right. Thank you, Charisma.
Well, Jackson, DeKalb, and Marshall counties all have these same icy road issues this morning, so much so that their emergency management leaders are now saying that all county roads and all bridges, again, in 3 counties, Marshall, DeKalb, Jackson, are impassable.
Yes, they are saying that. So bottom line is every county in North Alabama, from the Shoals all the way over to Sand Mountain, have either closed or they're just saying those roads are extremely dangerous. But you can go online and check for yourself. Just go to our website at WAAYTV.com to see that full list of closures.
And those slick roads causing problems already for folks who have been bold enough, I suppose I should say, to get out there on them. This crash actually happened yesterday on Huntsville's Governor's Drive. Investigators say 2 cars crashed into each other. One of them got knocked into a ditch. Look at this mess it left in the road there. There's the one in the ditch. And of course, this morning, investigators are saying what Grace Anello has been saying for days. Whatever might have melted yesterday, refroze last night, and those roads are in worse shape this morning than they were yesterday when that crash happened.
Yes, they are. Just that bad shape is leaving these tow truck drivers to work extra hard. They're busy this week, pulling out those cars out of ditches. This crew actually rescued several people yesterday when their cars slid off the road or just got stranded on that ice. And while those tow truck companies get paid to respond to situations like this, they're still encouraging drivers just to stay off the road.
I want to show you also this scene. This is video from yesterday. Those first responders there scrambling to help drivers who got stranded along I-65. This is near the Highway 31 Lacon exit there. And of course, we want to show you now a live picture of this morning. That is what it actually is like from one of those traffic cameras. You do see some cars inching their way along there, and look at there, they're going slowly in that area. I think one of them looked for a moment at least stalled, and I'm not sure it's not. In any case, those investigators who actually were on scene yesterday where all this was happening, they say that people traveling in that area this morning could risk getting stranded again. It's just that dangerous out there.
All of this further proving the reason that we need these 31 alert days in effect. The road conditions, that's only one of the issues. The other is temperatures getting as cold as -10 degrees in the coming days. That is too cold. That's not the cold you can play around with. This even, I would argue, when we say in the summer we have temperatures near 110, I would argue that -10 is almost worse sometimes because there's so little we can truly do to escape the cold. So stay inside today. Stay bundled up today. If you are outside, limit your time and do your best to make sure you're preventing things like cracked pipes and frostbite on the hands. Sound good? All right, take a look at Lawrenceburg right now. -3 degrees, feeling like -2 here in the Rocket City and -5 in Haleyville. Personally, I've never been closer to selling my house and moving to Athens or Fort Payne just so that I can have a temperature in the double digits, because that's kind of where we are right now. We do have wind chill alerts, both warnings and advisories in effect for all of us in the Tennessee Valley all day today and through 9 a.m. tomorrow. So bitter, bitter cold here now and here to stay. As we head through the next several hours, here's what you can expect. By 11 a.m., feeling like just 3 degrees. By 3 and 4 p.m., our high temperature measuring 22, note still well below freezing. However, feeling like only 11 degrees later this afternoon. So frigid temperatures, and they are ours to keep. The good news is that system that brought us the ice and snow just keeps getting farther and farther away. Right here in the Tennessee Valley at 8:25, we are completely dry from rain, from snow, from freezing rain, all of that. Not one drop of it on 31 triple Doppler, and that certainly is a blessing. We'll stay that way today and into tomorrow. Now, we have those alert days today and tomorrow, not because of snow or because of storms, but because of those slick roadways and those temperatures feeling close to -10. However, Thursday, we do not have an alert day, but we do have a caution day. This ahead of some overnight showers and storms that I'm already tracking. Thank you, January, for your weather. I'll be back with everything you can expect from the cold to the roadways. Plus, we're going to walk you through those temperatures and that next weather maker hour by hour. All that and more coming up. But right now, let's take a look at your best way traffic. All right, the good news is any accidents we've seen are starting to be cleared. We are still watching that one in southwestern Marion County on I-22. However, even though we don't have accidents, boy, do we have backups. Take your pick. 65, 565, 72, 431. I mean, we are seeing slowdowns everywhere. Cars are just starting to get on the road, and there's impacting very icy conditions, and that's the reason for these slowdowns, including in the shoals. You guys have my heart today because you had the first bet of ice and the most amount of snow, so your roadways are the worst. If you're in Florence, if you're in Rogersville, Lexington, Cortland, all the way up to Waterloo, make sure you are driving safely and slowly this morning. Right here in Huntsville, Athens, and Decatur, seeing plenty of slowdowns on 72, 565, 65, and 231. Take it slow if you're in Sand Mountain, 431 heading to and from Gunnersville and Boaz. Very, very backed up this morning. We're starting to see a little bit of clearing in Scottsboro, but we've all driven on those roads. We know that they don't see very much sunshine, so not expected to see a whole lot of clearing from the snow in that region. Make sure you're staying safe today and driving slowly. Give yourself extra time and only be on the roads if you absolutely need to. We've got more for you for timing, for weather, for news, and for live reports of exactly what these roads look like in your area. We'll be back in just a couple minutes.
Well, welcome back. The time is now 8:29, and Huntsville firefighters are right now battling two separate structure fires.
Now, one's on 6th Street Northwest and the other on Mountain Park Circle Southwest. That's actually near Governor's Drive. We are working right now to learn if this winter weather played any part in how those fires started. We think about that this time of year and during this kind of weather when folks are, of course, having to crank up their heaters even higher, keeping those fireplaces burning. Certainly hope that's not the case. Hope these are not seriously damaged homes, but our thoughts are with the folks who are dealing with this morning.
Yes, they are. And if you are flying out of Huntsville International Airport, just make sure you go and double check that flight because there are several delays and cancellations. We knew about this from 4:30 this morning. Well, airport leaders say it will remain open as those crews work to remove all that snow you see right there as they de-ice those planes and runways. And we are getting a firsthand look at some of the damage that was left in this winter storm's wake. We do have a photo of a burst pipe. This is over at Decatur Middle School. City school leaders say maintenance crews are currently trying to clean up that area and that big mess. But this does serve as a reminder to let that water drip from your faucets and open those cabinets to let that warm air flow in.
Let's talk about our four-footed friends, our kitty cats and our doggies. And I'm just going to be direct when I say this. If your animals are not inside where it's warm, they should be. And if you can, please get them inside now. So overnight, those temperatures dropped.
Yeah.
That feels like to below zero.
Really?
That's significant, and that means, of course, that was very hard on those poor animals.
And it's downright cruel just to leave those dogs and cats outside in this weather. Veterinarians say even animals too big to come inside, they still struggle in this kind of weather. Make sure you go check on them, make sure they have a warm place to ride out this cold, and make sure they do have access to drinking water since anything in their dishes will freeze pretty quickly.
And by the way, if your pet is shivering or has shallow breathing, dilated pupils, low blood pressure, pale skin, all these are signs of hypothermia. And your pet, if you have those symptoms, needs help right away. We need to stress, we're looking there at some pictures folks have sent us of animals out in the snow. There's a good chance your animals either will or won't want to go out in it. I don't think I would like it with bare paws.
I don't think
but
so
even if they do like to go out there and play in it and bounce around a little bit because it's different, still get them in quickly. Pay attention to their little bodies and make sure they don't stay out there too long. Look there, beautiful horse. But you know, even a big animal like him, this is hard
Still
on his
needs some
body.
warmth.
And he's
Exactly.
gorgeous, by the way.
And we do know that several agencies do want to make sure that anybody who needs a warm place to ride out these frigid temperatures has one. They even opened up warming centers. You see them on your screen right there in Madison, Morgan, DeKalb, and Colbert counties. But we do have those exact locations on our website. Just go to WAAYTV.com to find the nearest one to you.
And we want, like this, look at this video. We want to see your pictures and your video of your children or your grandchildren, your nieces, your nephews,
Yes.
whatever. We want to see them out there enjoying this snow. So it's easy to get us those pictures and that video. Just email it to us, newsroom@waaytv.com. That is newsroom@waaytv.com. We might just share them on air, post them on our social media pages, our station website.
Yeah.
But make sure that it's safe to get those pictures. But I just love watching that. I mean, that's the only good thing sometimes about having this on the ground.
know.
Grown-ups don't like it so much, but the children love it.
Yes, they do. And I would say within the last 15 minutes, we had about 3 different emails of people just sending in their pictures and their videos, some of them having and experiencing their first snow. And it's always exciting to see the excitement on their faces. So thank you all for listening to our call, and thank you for sending those pictures and videos in.
I'll go out there and I'll be ready to go back in about 5 minutes.
20
Less
bucks
than
says
that.
I beat you in a sled race
Oh
every
my God.
time.
You are so
You got a
competitive.
sled?
I know, everything in my life is a competition. It really is true.
I'm a lot of things, but one of them is a daredevil. So you're on.
Who do you think wins? Who do you think wins? Me
My
or Chris?
money is on.
Because I'm sitting there calculating the thermodynamic increase of my rate of acceleration
She's
down
gonna
the
have
hill.
that.
I've got more weight to propel the sled forward.
Oh, that is a good
Force
point,
does
though.
equal mass times acceleration, so you're helping in that
There
category.
you go. Look at there.
As
I'm
much
a
as I'm
scientist
sure-
and didn't know it.
I just love physics more than anything. As much as you've loved that little lesson, let's go ahead and take a look at some information that can help you today. Take a look outside right now at the WAAY 31 Skycam network, powered by Thompson Roofing and Construction, looking as lovely as ever, almost like a winter postcard, but boy is it deceptive. Those temperatures sitting in the teens for the vast majority of us, but feeling close to zero, many of us even in the negatives. And I do want you to look at our roadways. We've seen a little bit of clearing on 565, and by the way, these are some of the only cameras we have right now. I would show you more road views if we did, but many of those are down as a result of the weather. So I'm doing the best with what we got. But 565 seeing a little bit of clearing, not so much the case in Muscle Shoals and Indicators. So if you're in those areas or really all across the valley, note some of the higher trafficked roads, those could start to see some clearing while still being dangerous, but others are still blanketed in snow and ice and really should be avoided until we see some true melting. Those roads, combined with the bitter cold conditions that we talked about near zero and in the negatives, that's what's giving us our next 2 31 alert days, those in effect today and tomorrow. The best news of the morning is 31 triple Doppler coming in like Old Faithful. 8:34 and not one drop of rain, not one flurry of snow. We are good to go. No more accumulation is expected throughout the day today or tomorrow. But that raises the question, how much did accumulate? Well, if you're in Fayetteville, Tennessee, or in surrounding areas just east, you saw up to 6 inches of snow yesterday. If you're in Huntsville, Athens, even Muscle Shoals or Florence, you saw up to 5 inches, and the rest of us just going down from there. But this was one of the biggest snow events that we've seen in quite some time. And now we're seeing one of the biggest cold events that we've seen in quite some time. Our feels like temperatures now rivaling that of what we saw 34 years ago in 1989. That was the last time we were this cold. We do have winter chill warnings and wind chill advisories in effect across the Tennessee Valley all day today and through first thing tomorrow. So let's go ahead and prove exactly how strong that wind chill is. At 10 a.m., we'll be measuring temperatures of 15 degrees. At 4 p.m., we'll be measuring our high temperature, 22 degrees. Note, still well below average. Let's talk about what we feel like when you add in the wind. At 10 a.m., feeling like just 1 degree. And at 3 and 4 o'clock for our high temperature, feeling like just 11 degrees. So take whatever temperature your phone, your app, or your thermometer at home is measuring, subtract a good 10 to 15 degrees, and that's how we're actually feeling when you head outside. Tomorrow morning, we'll be even colder, measuring 3, feeling close to -10 first thing. This is frostbite territory. This is hypothermia territory for you, for your little ones, and for your pets. So make sure you're staying safe, and really the best thing, the only thing you can do is limit your time outside. That handles the cold for the next several days, but let's talk about Thursday. We're slightly warmer, however, we do have an influx of some showers and storms with the possibility to bring the slightest bit of wintry mix. We'll get to more on that in a minute. The rain and storms push through right around 3 o'clock into the shoals and continue to track north and east, staying with us through your dinner time commute. So as you're heading home on Thursday from work, note it's going to be a rainy and soggy commute, and I would be shocked if all of the snow is out of our system at that point. So just add that to the commute as well. Rain and storms stay with us through the overnight hours and through first thing in the morning on Friday until they finally get out of our way. Now, are we going to see a wintry mix with that system? I know nobody's heard a word I've said since we spoke that. Well, at the moment, it's not looking too dire of a situation. However, it is something that I have my eyes on. So let's handle today, and then check back with me tomorrow morning. I'll have a new radar update, and we'll dive deep into what you can expect with that system. This weekend, we are sunny, but boy, are we cold. Waking up at 10 degrees on Saturday, 23 degrees for your high temperature. That should be a crime. We're waking up on Sunday at just 8 degrees before slightly warmer temperatures come back into the forecast next week.
Now, your best way traffic, sponsored by Russ Russell Commercial Real Estate.
Honestly, we've looked better on our traffic map. We're not looking too bad as far as accidents. The one we've been monitoring for about the last hour and a half now in southwestern Marion County on I-22, only giving us a few backups. However, take your pick at any of the other roads in the valley. We are seeing slowdowns, 565, 65, 431, 72. I mean, it is all there. 65 had a bad accident this morning that now has been cleared, but we are still seeing the traffic from it everywhere from Garden City up to Falkville, even Decatur. temperature as well. 278 starting to see some of that as well. Over in the shoals, you really have my heart this morning. You saw the first of the ice on Sunday night and the most of the snow in our area. So your roads are the worst, including 72 and 43. If you're navigating in that area, please exercise extreme caution. Do not tailgate other cars and drive very, very slowly. Huntsville, Athens, and Decatur starting to see backups on 65, on 72, 565, 431. and 231 as well. 431 near Gunnersville and on its way from Scottsboro to Huntsville. You're starting to see a whole lot of slowdowns in that area. And Fort Payne, well, we wouldn't want to leave you out. 59 is starting to show some backups as well. So please be mindful this morning. Please drive slow this morning. This is going to be in our system for the next several days, so there's no point in rushing. Just make sure you get to and from your location safely. After all, you are precious cargo.
This is WAAY 31 News, tracking winter weather.
We're so glad you're sticking with us. I'm WAAY 31 morning meteorologist Grace. Hello, and here's Demetria and Chris.
Hey,
Ta-da!
thank you so much for that warm intro, Grace.
Well, we're tracking it as well from this side of the room.
We are, yeah.
So good Tuesday morning to you, everybody, as we track this winter weather. Just a reminder, today is January 16th. I'm Chris Tatum.
And I'm Demetria Green, and we are staying on top of, in fact, I'm going to claim it right now. We are owning this winter weather right now. We want to make sure that you are safe on this 31 alert date. So if you're just waking up, you notice that it's cold, it's very icy outside, but we are here to help.
And we are in right now an extended edition of WAAY 31 News Mornings. We will be on the air until 9 o'clock, making sure that all the information that we have about what's happening out there related to this snow, this ice, those road conditions, those dangerous road conditions, that you have access to all of that information. We also have a team of reporters stationed across North Alabama right now. They are braving the cold and braving that ice to help keep you and your family safe this morning.
But first, we're going to go ahead and check in with WAAY 31 Morning Storm Tracker meteorologist Grace Anello, who is tracking those conditions for us right now.
Yeah, so Chris, Demetria, kind of a double whammy today, and both of those aided in our decision to issue a 31 alert day. Now, we did that days ago, but now here the impacts are upon us. We saw inches of snow last night on top of a bed of ice. That's really impacting our roads. Well, we also have Arctic conditions, and that's really impacting our ability to melt, or rather said, the lack thereof. So that's giving us 2 31 alert days in effect today and tomorrow continuing. It's not because we're seeing more snow, it's because of the temperature temperatures and the roadways. Feeling like -5 degrees right now in Haleyville, -7 in Lawrenceburg, Tennessee, -2 in Huntsville, and up to a whopping 4 degrees in Gunnersville. How you made it past the zeros, I'll never know, but good for you. Well, we are chilly this morning, bitter, bitter cold. If you're headed outside at any point today, I really want you to pay attention. Frostbite is a concern. We often don't deal with that in the Tennessee Valley, but just several minutes outside and temperatures this cold with winds this strong could be pretty bad. So make sure you're bundling up as you head outside. We do have a wind chill warning and advisory in effect across the Tennessee Valley. This in place until tomorrow at 9 a.m. So all day today into tomorrow, and I'll go ahead and tell you tomorrow morning is significantly colder than this morning was. As we make it to 10 o'clock this morning, oh, just 1 degree. That's our temperature. I've never said that before, so that's fun. By the time we get to 3 o'clock, we're up to 11 degrees. That's much more my speed. I think I like that a little bit better. We'll be measuring 22 though. So as you head outside, if you're checking your app at any point today, note that whatever the temperature is telling you, subtract about 10 or 12 degrees, and that's how we're really feeling outside. The best news of the morning is coming with 31 triple Doppler. 8:44 a.m. and not one drop of rain and not one flurry of snow. We won't see any of that in the forecast until later on Thursday. Now, Thursday is not issued a 31 alert day. It is not going to be severe. However, it is a caution day, and it is a system I have my eyes on because it's bringing some rain and some storms overnight. There is a low-end chance that this turns into a slight wintry mix, not like we saw today, but a slight wintry mix. However, I'm focusing on today, and I'm going to get you the rest of this information and a more updated radar outlook tomorrow as we head closer to that system. So check back in with me right here tomorrow, and we'll talk more about that.
And thank you so much for that, Grace, on this Tuesday morning. It is a slick, icy, cold morning out there, as Grace has said, as we have been saying since 4:30 this morning as well. And that is causing, of course, school leaders to close a lot of schools across North Alabama.
Yeah, they've been working around the clock to make sure the kids stay safe, but they've decided to close tomorrow as well to give more workers time to clear the roads and for more time for that ice to melt. So on your screen right there, that's what you will see when you go to our website, WAAYTV.com. We have Arab City Schools there, as well as Coleman County Schools and a whole host of others, as well as those school closures that are scrolling right at the bottom of your screen.
Now, there are also a lot of road closures across North Alabama this morning you need to be aware of, again, because of that ice.
And state troopers are warning that even roads that are open right now may have some slick spots and icy patches, so really be on the lookout for that. Over in Madison County, state troopers closed Mountain Gap Road in South Huntsville, Bankhead Parkway, as well as Green Mountain Road. And sadly, that list of dangerous and closed roads, well, that will only continue to grow.
And of course, we also want to talk about the fact that we do have, again, anchors and reporters all across North Alabama helping us tell this story, helping track this winter weather. One of them right now is in Huntsville.
Yeah, we can just call her our road warrior.
Yes,
so we're going to
she
go
is.
ahead and check in with WAAY 31's Charisma
Yes.
Thrash.
Yeah, Demetria, Chris, we're certainly battling these road conditions this morning, so Road Warrior is certainly appropriate to call us here in the WAAY 31 Storm Tracker. Let me just show you what a lot of commuters are going to be bracing for this morning. Now, take a look at these roads. Absolutely non-existent is what it is. The pavement is not there. So if you plan on traveling this morning, because again, the roads are drivable, obviously, because we're driving on the road. So you can make sense of that, but just know that traveling at low speed is necessary in order to commute this morning without causing any wrecks or being in a ditch at that. And so I also want to point out too, usually as you can see on the pavement, there is no divider. That is something that we've been talking about all morning, is that there's no segregation of the lanes. And so therefore, you're just driving on the road essentially, not really knowing where you're going. So that really could be a problem. So again, this is caused from that wintry mix of snow, sleet, and freezing rain, which has caused the roads to look like this. And a lot of businesses are actually closed. And even one of my favorite stores, Walmart, they're not open at this hour. Good thing though, a lot of gas stations are open, and that's about it. And so you can expect a slow commute if you're traveling. So plan accordingly if you have to travel. You don't see a lot of commuters on the road, and that's a good thing. And we just want to say again to all of you out there, WAAY 31 wants to thank you all for listening to these warnings and taking them seriously on day 2 of this 31 alert day. Live from Huntsville in the WAAY 31 Storm Tracker, I'm Charisma Thrash.
All right, Charisma, thank you so much. And of course, that snow and ice going to affect roads all day and possibly even into evening. And tomorrow is yet another 31 alert day. So we're talking about cold temperatures even tonight.
Yes, we are. So we want to go ahead and check in with our Marie Waxel now, who is out there on the roads. And Marie, what is it looking like?
Yeah, so I've been trying to pop around all across the shoals this morning to give everyone at home a better look at what we're dealing with here in Colbert and Lauderdale County. You know, this is the first time Georgia Clark and I were able to cross over safely into Lauderdale County earlier this morning. Now, just a short time ago, we tried to give you guys a live look at them clearing parts of Pine Street in Florence, the city of Florence, out working very, very hard this morning, but it was very dangerous. So what they're doing is they're taking the skid steer or I'm not too familiar with the terms, but they're clearing, taking it and plowing the street, getting all of this snow off of it, trying to chisel down some of that ice, and then they've got some sand and salt mixture that they're going to go ahead and sprinkle behind. We tried to get as close and as we could for safety-wise to get you some video of that. We'll share that with you at midday, but you know, we had to move because it's on an incline, and you know, ice, you just can't control it. You just can't stop and get out safely and get video. You have to kind of keep moving. It's just a very dangerous thing, but we are being very, very safe. Just wanted to let you know. Behind me over here, O'Neill Bridge, we just crossed it just a short time ago. It's very clear. You can see the road's fine, and then that layer of ice is right there when you cross onto the bridge and you're going across the bridge, and it's just very, very slick out there. We're seeing more people out on the road. That can cause a lot of danger, because if somebody slides out next to you and you know, road crews again are trying to get out here and just clear and navigate and work through this. One of the road crews I talked to just in passing just a moment ago with the city of Florence said he's been with the city for about 10 years and this is the worst he's ever seen, just trying to chisel through that ice. So that kind of gives you an idea of what we're dealing with out here in the shoals. If you're wondering at home, I did jump out of the car very quickly. My gloves are inside, but I'm holding hot hands right now, and that's seems to be doing the trick. But again, I'm not out here for very long. Anytime you're going out for an extended amount of time, you need to make sure you are bundling, layering up head to toe as much as you can, because just because the sun is shining doesn't mean it's warming up at all. Of course, we will continue to monitor these conditions and stay on top of it for you throughout the shows. We're covering Lauderdale, Colbert, and Franklin County as much and as best and as safely as we can for right now, with coverage you can count on the Sheffield side of O'Neill Bridge. I'm Marie Waxel, WAAY 31 News.
Thank you, Marie. And I'm glad you said something about those gloves, because you know I was going to send you a text. Don't go outside without those gloves, girl.
I made a run to a store yesterday because our boss wanted me to pick up, since I was already going, some hot hands for some of our crews. Sold out.
Those are
Not
a lifesaver. Yeah, a lot of that stuff is gone in the stores too.
Absolutely.
But we do know that this winter weather affects more than just you. It's also affecting the people who are trying to keep you safe as well.
And joining us right now, we have Alabama Senior State Trooper Brandon Bailey to talk about what we're looking at out on these North Alabama roads. So first up, Trooper Bailey, if I may ask a question, are you seeing crashes so far? And if so, how many have troopers responded to really in the past 24 hours?
Yes, sir. We're seeing not just crashes. We're seeing multiple crashes at the same locations. We don't really have a number. It's been so many of them. Like I said, we have just a numerous amount of crashes in certain locations. Like certain spots is bad, we're having multiple crashes at the same location. And some of the roadways that sticks out as really bad right now is I-65 in Coleman County area. We have at the 285 mile marker on I-65 northbound, we have multiple vehicle crashes there. At the 291 mile marker northbound, we have a tractor trailer that has stalled, as well as the 298. And at the 316, we have another tractor trailer that is stalled on Interstate 65. So that's just an example of what's going on, and it's all due to icy roadway conditions. We want to encourage people, if at all possible, stay off the roadway. If you can avoid it, if you can't, if you have to get on the roadway from some chance, hey, drive slow. Hey, remember just the fundamentals of driving. Give the vehicle in front of you enough following distance and drive extremely slow.
Great advice.
That is great advice, but first I wanted to start off by saying thank you.
Yes.
Thank you for what you and the other troopers are doing to keep us safe. I know that is a thankless job, but we wanted to make sure that we told you thank you. But how are you all handling this? Because when you're in that kind of profession, it's not like, okay, 5 o'clock, you're off the clock and that's it. Like you are working around the clock. So what are you doing to keep the spirits up for the rest of the troopers as well?
This is what we signed up for. We was already prepared for a situation like this. We seen a storm coming, so mentally we was already prepared to handle it. And all we can do is just handle one crash at a time, take our time and get there. Of course, we can't get there where we usually get there in a certain amount of time. We're getting there a lot slower due to the road conditions. So we're prepared. We're motivated. We get out there. We want to be seen and try to get people off these roadways as much as possible.
Trooper Bailey, first of all, we agree with you. We're sounding the same warning. Stay off these roads if at all possible this morning. But while we are asking more people to stay off of them, are more troopers out and about just to make sure that the folks who are on them are safe or that somebody can get to them quickly if they have trouble?
Absolutely. Every trooper that we have in the state of Alabama right now is on the roadway. Just try to help and, like I said, try to prevent people from getting on the road. And in case they are on the roadways and getting stuck, we're trying to quickly get to those locations and get them off the roadway, because we know even if they pull off on the side of the road due to the roadway conditions, there's a good chance that somebody could hydroplane and hit them while they're on the side of the road. So that's why we're trying to get that message out there. Hey, stay completely off the road. It's nowhere safe on the road. Even off the roadways, you're in danger. So due to the icy conditions.
Now, I know that we've been talking about it throughout the morning. There are some roads that are open right now. There are a few slick spots. If there's emergency, someone needs to get on there. What is your best piece of advice if someone just has to go and has to travel?
Drive slow, as slowly as possible. Be aware of your surroundings. Hey, be aware of the roadways. Make sure you're very vigilant, and you'll know that, hey, where I'm riding on is ice. It's unpredictable. It's unstable. There's nothing you can really do to control your vehicle while traveling on ice. You might be traveling straight at one moment. Next, you might hydroplane. But in the event, if you are to hydroplane, just remember, don't panic and just press abruptly on the brake. That just makes it worse. If you do press on the brake, come off with it real slow. Usually a hydroplane lasts between 1 to 2 seconds.
Well, Trooper Bailey, we know you and all of the Alabama State Troopers are busy. Also in Tennessee, we have folks in Tennessee watching, are busy. And we thank you so much for taking time to call in and talk to us and just kind of check in and help us explain to people how bad these roads are and how you need to stay off of them.
Yes, thank you.
My pleasure. Thank y'all.
And I do want to say, we've been receiving email after email from the Alabama State Troopers Office. They've just been alerting us and letting us know what's happening overnight hours as well. So even though you all may not see it, they are working around the clock.
We have so many emails from them about updated road closures across North Alabama that have been very helpful to us and to all the folks watching that we've been able to pass that information to. Yeah. Just a reminder, Jackson and DeKalb County emergency management agencies are right now telling people the same thing: stay off those roads. And here is why. They have now deemed, and we're talking also Marshall County, let's add Marshall County to that. So they say that roads, county roads specifically, because a lot of those are rural, and also bridges across those 3 counties, Marshall, DeKalb, Jackson, are this morning impassable. Impassable meaning you don't want to get on them. You might not make it to where you're going.
Right, and every county in North Alabama, from the Shoals all the way to Sand Mountain, have either closed or they just deem those roads as extremely dangerous. But you can go online, check for yourself, see what's near you in your area, or your friends or your loved ones. Just go to WAAYTV.com because we do have that full list of closures.
Let's show you a little bit of video from yesterday, just a proof of how dangerous these roads are. This is a crash that actually happened on Huntsville's Governor's Drive. Investigators say 2 cars actually slammed into each other. Don't know if they actually hit each other, slid into each other. Either way, one of them got knocked into a ditch, and you can see all that debris in the road just to give you an idea of how hard that impact was. And those investigators who worked that crash, and they are repeating exactly what Grace Anello and our Storm Tracker weather team has been saying for days. Everything that might have melted yesterday refroze last night, and those roads are in worse shape this morning than they were yesterday when that crash happened. So if that at all is a warning to you or a reminder to you that you need to stay home, please take it.
And please do so, because it's keeping these tow truck drivers pretty busy as they are pulling cars out of ditches, This crew right here on your screen, they rescued several people yesterday when their cars just slid off the road or just got stranded on that ice. Now, while those tow truck companies get paid to respond to situations like this, even they are encouraging their drivers to stay off of the roads.
Thank those tow truck drivers too.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's get you a quick look of the weather and then we'll stop with traffic. -7 right now in Lawrenceburg, Tennessee. -2 in Huntsville. -3 in Coleman. Staying below freezing all day today. The warmest will be, feels like 11 degrees coming later this afternoon. Another 31 alert day in effect Wednesday. This ahead of wake up temperatures of 3 degrees, feeling like close to -10 degrees. You cannot bundle up enough. Let's get a quick look at your best way traffic. We do have some more accidents on the map there, as well as some roads closed in southern Coleman County. We are looking at an accident on 565 in Huntsville as well. Make sure you're taking it slow. We are seeing accidents all over the place. We are seeing slowdowns as many of us are trying to drive on ice right now. So please be patient with those around you. Please be safe with your own vehicle. Stay off the road if you do not absolutely have to be on the road. And remember what Trooper Bailey said, should you impact ice, most hydroplaning only lasts 1 to 2 seconds. Do not slam on the brakes, take your foot off the gas, and very calmly steer yourself back to safety. But again, staying off the roads is best practice so that our emergency workers and crews trying to clear the roads can get to their work faster.
And of course, we will all be back for WAAY 31 News midday at 11 with the very latest on all of these road conditions and weather conditions across North Alabama.
We want to thank you for staying tuned for this extended newscast. We hope you stay safe out there.
We'll have more updates for you, the latest on what the weather is doing, plus the latest on the temperatures that are coming and new roadway traffic maps coming up every several minutes. We'll join you back here for WAAY 31 News at 11. Have a great day today and make sure you're staying safe.